If you can give your full attention together now, I promise you that those here will start working for you. And in order to be successful in life, what do these successful people do? Are we any different from them? Are they smarter? Are they smarter? Do they have any other talents? Do they have a talent? Let me tell you something interesting. There is no difference in all my experience and knowledge. There is no difference at all. I mean, there is no difference in talent between the very successful and the less successful. So where does this difference come from? There is something interesting. One of them is very good at fighting with his enemies, and one of them does not give up. He immediately succumbs to his enemies. So where is the enemy, I wonder? Where are those obstacles that prevent you from succeeding? Those obstacles that do not take you to the point you want? Where do they come from? Where are those obstacles? Those obstacles seem to be outside. They are not your spouse, your mother, your father, your neighbor, your uncle. They are not lack of money. They are not impossibility. They come from the thought in your mind. In other words, people. It actually creates its own obstacles. If you can give your full attention together now, I promise you that these people here will start working for you and will not become obstacles. There are neurons in our brains that work for us. There are trillions of neurons in our brains that work for us. Are you aware of something? If you can use your brain well, that is, your working neurons, if you can use them very well, then what happens if you use hundreds of thousands of trillions of neurons very well? What happens if you don't use them very well? What happens if others start using them? What happens if they start affecting you all the time? Let me tell you something interesting then. Let's discover and find out together how you can use this very briefly. Friends, this is very important, incredibly important. The brain and thought work with a great direction. If you take your brain and thoughts with your prejudices and past knowledge, it is not possible. If you can notice this place very well now, there will be a significant change in your life, in your whole life, and in your earnings. Do you know what a routine life is for the brain? It is a comfort zone. It is a trust zone. In fact, it is an extremely safe zone. If this has started to happen for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, the brain says, I am not going to be able to live like this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. I'm safe. I get up in the morning. I go to work. I come back. I want bosses. I earn little. I have problems. But basically, the whole life passes in a known environment. Music satisfied. It doesn't matter whether you are or not, because the brain looks for trust the most. If it's not for trust, then it's okay for that. Knowing that it's wrong won't change anything. You know very well that your life and your life won't change your earnings. If you want to earn better and more, you should. Let's tell the truth. How many times did you promise each other that you would wake up early in the morning and take a little walk and run a little? Who promised? Let me see, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now the second question was coming, and in the morning the presentation went. The number of hands decreased, we were down to 3 to 5 people, so something like that is happening. You promise, but you can't get it. Why can't we? Because we can't get out of our habit. You wake up in the morning and you can't get out. Yet you know it's right to go, but we can't go. For now, while you're in such an environment, can you really change your earnings and your life? Music. One of the most important points in your mind, my friends, is to promise. You must be able to promise when you leave here about what you will gain with your life, about what you will do. Because words mean orders. You give orders to your brain. If you give orders to your brain, it will move in the direction you give orders. And that commandment is a very important thing that you should not forget. So can you visualize it in your mind before you leave here to live the life that you deserve? Can you promise yourself and not anyone else? Then, can you promise that you will not forget that promise? Here is my promise to you, my friends. It's impossible. Applause. Music.